Welcome to Dahod Garden. Today,
Okay, this is one of the methods that I use to do my compost. So basically, I've got a compost tumbler or a bin that sits above ground on the stand, and you can rotate this bin instead of turning your compost. And there are some air pockets which allow for aerobic composting. That means it will let in air so that the compost gets oxygen, and the aerobic microorganisms basically help to eat up the organic matter and turn it into nice compost. Okay, this is the door to an opening to add your composting material. And so you open this, and then you provide your two basic elements, nitrogen and carbon sources, for the composting process to begin. So this is one of the four air access points in this bin. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the compost ingredients. So basically you need two sources, one for nitrogen and one for carbon. So the rule of thumb is anything that is green is generally a nitrogen source, and anything that is brown is a carbon source, with a few exceptions. So let's see what I use for my green source. I actually use grass clippings, then I use some kitchen scraps, vegetables, herbs, watermelon rinds, basically anything that comes from fruits and vegetables. You could also use eggshells, and you could also use coffee grounds or used coffee grounds. So I have quite a bit of those. So this is one of those exceptions. So coffee grounds are actually a source of nitrogen, even though they appear brown or dark in color. So for carbon, we use shredded paper, uh, paper bags from grocery stores, leaves, tree leaves. Also, we use some smaller branches. And so this is the mix that we use. And basically, you can use anything that you can source from your house or from your local area, and that should make a good composting mix. So you have to make sure that the combination of nitrogen and carbon sources are to a level where the compost starts cooking. If you have too much of one source over the other, then your compost may not cook. So one of the ways you can figure it out if your compost is cooking or not is if it's getting hot or not. And so you should really see uh, steam coming out of your compost if it's really cooking. So you have to just play a little bit with the nitrogen and carbon sources to make sure that you have the right consistency to get it going. So here are a few watermelon rinds, also orange peels, some onion peels, and we have a few other things in here. Here are the grocery bags. So this is probably a little bit larger than we would like, but make sure you can shred it if you can. And also you have to make sure that your compost ingredients are moist enough. That could be another reason why your compost is not cooking. So basically you need, in summary, three things. You need adequate source of nitrogen, adequate source of carbon, and moisture. And make sure that this bin is rotated maybe every couple of days, so that it's nicely aerated and it has a good supply of oxygen in it, so the aerobic microorganisms thrive on it. Here is a banana peel. So as you can see, we use a lot of kitchen scraps, and one thing you may not want to do is add any meat or fat source into it, and this might invite unwanted guests in your compost pile, and it can turn into a problem. And it seems too much fun that even our little gardener wants to get involved in rotating this compost tumbler.